so they can tolerate a drought, and they're also from forested areas, so they can also tolerate the low light. So ideal plant for anywhere that's dark and also dry. This also makes it a great outdoor plant in the proper climate, obviously, because especially in the hot climates, it can really tolerate a wide range of conditions. What it doesn't like, however, is being cold and wet. So it actually makes it not the ideal plant for us here in the winter rainfall area. But luckily, this is an indoor plant as well. To grow this as an indoor plant, it grows really, really well. It likes to be shaded. It doesn't like direct sunlight on the leaves because direct sunlight can burn the leaves. So you want to shade it from the direct sunlight, but you still want to give the plant some bright indirect light, because my plant has been growing in a lower light and it's produced a stretched growth. So this is actually a very good representation. So this leaf would have been grown in bright indirect light in the greenhouse from above, and then this leaf is the one that I've grown in my house, but you see the plant is stretching towards light, which is not really a problem if you prefer that kind of graceful arching stems. That it can be fine, but you can just see the difference between the compact growth of the greenhouse and then the arching out to get towards more light. And a lot of people actually complain about this, and they're like, but the plant, when it came to them, it was nice and compact, but now it's starting to reach out. Well, then maybe just give your plant more light, and then it won't do this. It will stay compact. They are touted as being great low light indoor plants, and I've actually just started this video saying that they are great low light indoor plants, but they're great for spaces where no other plant will grow or flower. No, I actually think grow works better. Grow. They're great for where no other plant will grow. So let's talk about humidity. They have these nice succulent leaves, so they don't need a lot of humidity. They can tolerate low humidity really, really well. I'm not even going to beat around the bush trying to put a number on that. Let's just say a low humidity they can tolerate really well. Because if they can tolerate the dry, humid air of the African bush in summer, they can tolerate the humidity inside your home. And the next thing that we need to talk about is, of course, what was the next thing we can talk about? The water, yes. So this plant, it has, I actually don't want to take this out here because it's the mess all over the kitchen, but maybe I should do that for effect. If you take this out of its pot, fork, you can see it has very succulent, thick roots that will actually, push out against the side of a plastic pot. That's why you'll often see in a plastic pot, you'll see like the way the roots have actually contortioned, perhaps, against the sides of the pot. And that's, because these are really thick fleshy roots, so they hold a lot of moisture. So this is really not a plant that you have to worry about, drying out too much. It can tolerate that. It has the systems built into it to tolerate the dry, actually winter where this plant comes from, but it can tolerate drought really well. So don't even worry about that. Because if you keep this plant too wet, the roots will rot. I guarantee that for you. The roots will rot. And then you ask me, well, why is my plant's roots rotting? And I'll tell you, because you maybe kept it too wet. So definitely, actually treat it like an indoor, well, treat it like a shady succulent. I actually think that sums up this plant really, really well. It's just to treat it as a shady indoor succulent, where, yeah, you don't need to worry about. No, why I did that, because it didn't really help anything, but it made me feel pissed. Yeah, so repotting. Not a plant that needs to be repotted all too often, but like I said, in a plastic pot, you'll see the sides of the pot kind of twisting and turning as the roots inside them, kind of want to escape. But not also a plant for overpotting. So it's really a fine balance between, you want to, keep the pot from, being contorted by the roots, but then on the other side, you also don't want to overpot your plant, because if you overpot your plant, you are going to open up your plant to issues with roots, because the pot will hold on to too much soil, or there'll be too much soil in the pot, which will hold on to too much moisture, which will lead to root rot in a plant like this. When you want to repot your plant, always bear in mind that a plastic pot will not dry out as fast as a clay pot. A clay pot, because clay is a porous material and water evaporates to the sides of the pot quite rapidly. But especially in summer, especially if it's really, really hot outside. Whereas a plastic pot will only really evaporate through the top of, where the soil is, because water can't evaporate through plastic. Really low maintenance when it comes to the water, except if you are an over waterer and you know who you are. So if you're an over waterer, you want to just dial it back slightly, just slightly this way. Because you'll probably kill this plant. The other thing is fertilizers. So, like I've said before 1,000 times, it feels like, I always like to use organic fertilizer. I don't like to use chemical fertilizers. I do sometimes use chemical fertilizers if the plant is a fast-growing plant. So, like a normal Anthurium andreum, the one with the colorful flowers, they are quite fast growing, so a chemical fertilizer will actually be fine. But for plants that are not that fast growing, I like to use organic fertilizers, so kelp, worm castings, a tea made from worm castings. There's also, you can also use fish emulsion. So what else is there? Propagation. So really easy to propagate. You can actually propagate them through these little leaf things, leaflets. And I will insert some B-roll here, where I propagated them in the past, but really, really nice to propagate, easy also. The only thing I would say to think about is that you need to change out the water often when you propagate them, because if the water gets really, really stale in there, it can rot your leaflets. But something that I don't think anyone else says is that when you propagate them through leaflets, it's gonna take a hell of a long time to get a plant this size. I'm just putting it out there. I know no one else will say this, but I will. Yeah, it's gonna take a very long time for you to get a plant this size. I've tried it, that's why I speak from experience. I mean, those two little leaves that come out are like this big. And then, nothing happens for a long time, because what's actually happening is underneath the soil, the roots are growing, so something is actually happening, but you're not going to see it. Just something to think about with propagation. It might be better actually. I've seen people do it to propagate from a whole leaf thing, but I haven't had much luck with that. Each time I've actually tried it, it's rotted. But I don't know if that's just because I didn't change out the water like daily. But yeah, I know other people have done that and I've had success with it. But I would imagine then, like your plant that you make from that will then be a lot stronger because it's coming from a bigger piece. As far as pests and diseases go, nothing. I can't say anything. I haven't seen anything. I haven't heard anything. There's just been nothing on this plant, which to me actually says a lot about the type of plant it is. That it's so resilient and resistant, and if you can stack it in low light, you can not give it any water. It can be dusty and no pests. So I would say that's a credit in its favor. But if you have anything that you might want to add to this conversation, you can always leave a comment. I always like hearing what you guys have to say. So on that note, I'm going to end this video. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. I will see you in the next video. Bye.